What is going on, all you profitable stylists out there and all you future profitable stylists out there? We're troubleshooting common hair extension pitfalls this week. What are the 6 most common things that make hair extensions fail, get your clients to complain, and drive you nuts? Number 5 personally pisses me off. So, good morning, Bernard. We're going to go through these.
I do not know what these questions are. I can't wait to get to number 5.
Oh, my God. All right, here we go. Number 1.
So is this the time when I get to say, there's no stupid questions?
Right. It's only stupid mistakes that people keep making.
Go ahead. What's question number 1? I can't wait to hear it.
One of the biggest problems is slippage or extensions falling out prematurely. So is it improper installation? Is it buildup? Is it because scalps are oily? Is it because it's incompatible with the hair? What causes slippage or hair extensions prematurely falling out like that? It's one of the main things people ask about.
I was just doing a video on this mannequin here. I got a few keratin bonds and a few O-tips, and it kind of came up when I was doing it because one of the biggest challenges with K-tips is that people don't clean the hair well enough at first. That's first. So I think it's a little bit of everything you just said. So cleaning the hair well first doesn't matter on every technique, right? Matters more in K-tips than anything else. But the thing that I think is more important, because I've been at hair shows and I can remember watching Priscilla put hair extensions on this girl's hair. We're at a show. We can't clean the hair. This hair was it was glossy. It was so greasy, shiny. And she did such a good, tight, snug bond that we ended up seeing this girl later at another hair show or somewhere, like, I don't know, just a couple of months later. Somehow we communicated with her and they all stayed in really well. And I would have never guessed it from how greasy her hair was. And so it was a little bit of an indicator to me that technique was more important than clean hair. But I still think that clean hair helps most people because not everybody's doing a perfect technique, right? But as I was doing the technique, you've got that keratin bond underneath the hair. You're melting it. Some people think about melting it where it just spreads like that, right? And then they slap it around and they call it a rolled bond, but it's hollow in the middle. And if it's hollow in the middle, it's not as secure as when that keratin bond spreads like that. It needs to also get pushed through all the fibers. So you're using the heat and time to spread the bond, but then you need to use a little bit of mechanical pressure. That's why it looks like a pair of pliers, a pincher, whatever you want to call it. You have to use a little bit of mechanical pressure to push it in there, and then timing. So there's a few things going on. Then you can't just set your tool down and go to lunch or grab a bag of chips and have a munch and then decide to roll it, because as soon as you set that tool down, the clock is ticking, as they say. Yeah. It's starting to cool. And the sooner you get your fingers to rolling that bond, the tighter and more surface area and the more hairs it's going to be grabbing onto. So it's going to be tighter, snugger, smaller, more invisible, and it's going to stay better. Now, the downside is it's harder to remove later, right? But it's going to stay in better. It's not going to slip. And so when I can remember being at hair shows and people that weren't as good at putting them in as me would say, come see Bernard. We don't take so long taking our bonds out. I'm not going to name any names here because we know some of these people. And they would say, come see how easy it is to remove extensions. I don't know why everybody complains about it. And as soon as I walk up, I'm looking at the bonds and I'm thinking, I could probably just tap on it and it would come out. And how long has it been in? 3 weeks? You know, it matters how it goes in as well as how it comes out. So really well applied bonds take a very long time to come out. It's unfortunate. That's part of why when we put them in, we don't want to take them out in a day or two or a week or two. We want a little wear and tear on a keratin bond. 3 months. Obviously, there's a sweet spot, a window. Coming out in 3 or 4 months is ideal. Maybe a little more than 4, but you go 5, 6, 7 months. Now you got tangled matting, knotting, and it's never coming out.
There's a whole other mess.
Yeah, it's a whole another mess. So in most cases, I'd say good clean hair is first, and then good technique. No matter what product it is, there's always a little bit better technique that will make it hold a little bit better. Now, I'm going to just throw one more thing out there. Maybe it's a person that shouldn't have extensions. There are some times where the hair is just too fine and thin, or not enough hairs per square inch, and it just can't support the weight, and you shouldn't have put extensions in their hair in the first place. And I hate to say that one, because I see way too often people are sending me photos and pictures and saying, I just don't think she's thick enough for extensions. And most of the time they are. So I think hairdressers are a little on the scared side and don't want to do it, but it's because most people are doing it wrong to start with. We didn't even cover, I said good technique. It should cover a lot, but bad angle. If it's put in where it's sticking straight out the head and then it's trying to fall, it's pulling the top hairs and pushing the bottom hairs in. And so then hairs start to break off and it slides right out of the head.
I love that a lot of these shows have gotten popular in recent years. So there was a show in particular called Forged in Steel. And they were showing like blacksmith, how to make knives and swords and axes and stuff like that, bladed weapons.
Yeah.
And then they would have competitions like Master Chef, but it would be like Master Forgers, and who can play with heat and iron and get it to mold it perfectly, right?
And oil or water to cool it, and it matters
to
when
use it
and
all
how.
And it shows the relationship between how much mechanical force with pressure versus how much heat and how long it takes for things to become pliable. Another show that I love is these glass blowing shows. And they got the thing like 6,000 degrees glass, and then they're just spinning it around and make it into a ball in a beautiful shape and all that. Point is, keratin bonds are the same way. We're not using as excessive as heat temperatures such as those.
Right.
But the technique is so important and so vital, because you do have to warm it up to a certain degree. Too many times I see stylists in class, and especially when I'm just observing in salons, they take the
froze on my end. I'm not sure if you're frozen completely for everyone, but I like that you were talking about heat and temperature. You get it hot and melted, and that's why they keep spinning that pipe, because that if they don't spin it, that whole glass or jar is going to start to droop. So they're spinning it to keep it just right. Yeah. And from the start to the finish, the timing matters to get the shape the way they want it. And for us, rolling or folding a bond comes in a time window. Did you want to finish something there? You had frozen. I'm not sure if you got the whole point out.
Gotcha. All right. So what I observe too many times, more often than not, unfortunately, is a stylist applies the heat to the bond. They leave it on there. As soon as the bond starts to spread, as soon as it starts to soften, they prematurely take the wand off away.
Yep.
And now they're trying to force it mechanically with their hands. Then they do this freaking thing where they get nervous, so they start tapping away at it rather than just reapplying the heat and allowing it to soften again. That bond is never becoming moldable enough. It's never becoming pliable enough, and it's never making surface contact enough with the strands of the hair, with the cuticle layer of the hair. So you never have a full proper contact. Now it cannot properly cool down and harden. That it's a protein. That protein needs to harden. It needs to soften. And it's, I want to say, like the pores of your skin, they expand and contract constantly. Your hair also, if you're getting pure keratin bonds, are going to expand and contract. So you need that proper amount of time to manipulate it correctly so it can actually make proper contact to the hair. That's they're going through the motions of application, not going through the actual steps, and that's why you see one bond is here, the next bond is down there. One bond is this big, the next bond is that small, and it's too many inconsistencies. You should look like a machine if you're doing it's the same technique. It's the same 3-4 steps to apply a bond.
Consistency is you could possibly do really good bonds and have one high, one low, but that is rare, right? If you know what you're doing and you're doing a really good job, well, then it should almost be cookie cutter and just look like the same thing over and over, like a machine put it in. And so I agree. If it looks like a machine put it in, it's probably a really good bond, because it shows that you really know what you're doing, or you really got that mistake honed in and you're doing it over and over. over again also.
And then
So
you
yeah,
got
I always say, send me a video. If you're in doubt or needing help with anything in your technique, I always say, send me a short video. Let me tell you what a lady told me yesterday. She said, let me see if I can find that headband from that other company. I said, headband? She goes, oh yeah, I got certified with another company and it comes with a headband that holds a cell phone. And I, I can't even imagine. So I imagine.
Oh, so she can record herself or
Yes.
something. Oh,
Yeah.
geez.
So I think she's got a headband. And so, and then I guess she hits play and then puts her headband, sticks this in her headband, and then it watches and it sees what she's doing. It's not a terrible idea. I don't know. I don't know how accurate or how, like, if she's moving her head. I guess if she can see it, her head's probably kind of still unless she's talking.
All I can think about is like them old miner helmets, you know, with the flashlight on there.
Yeah, I can't wait to see this video. I thought it sounds like a good idea, but I haven't seen the proof of concept yet.
Pretty wild. All right, here's the next one. You were kind of alluding to this a little bit. Damage to natural hair with
Question
breakage.
number 2.
Number 2, damage to natural hair with breakage and shedding. Is it too much weight per section? Is it over direction? Is it not the right angles? Is it incorrect removal? Is it too much tension? These are
Say that question again, because I think it covers 2 things.
So damage to natural hair, breakage, or shedding.
Right. So that's the thing. A lot of people see, all right, so hair naturally sheds, right? And so I always say, when you put a bond in, what is that one little section that you put? We're going to talk individual strands here for a minute, but even if you're putting a weft in and you're using a bead in any system, how much hair goes in a bead? Oh, in one bead of a weft, one bead of a strand, an eye tip, a keratin tip, how many hairs you grab? It's a section, right? And so let's just call that section 50 hairs. It might be 30, it might be 100. Let's call it 50 hairs just for a number. We got this little bitty section of 50 strands of hair, and you connect to it. And let's say everything's right and the correct angle, natural fall, all the hairs are stressed exactly the same. I always ask people, if I'm connected to 50 hairs today and nothing changes, how many hairs am I connected to tomorrow? And they go, and there's all kind of numbers. And a lot of people say 50, right? A few people get it. And then the only answer I'm really looking for is anything less than 50. Is it still connected to 50 tomorrow? Maybe, but probably not.
So.
Yeah. But 2 or 3 days from now, how many is it connected to? It's not connected.
Who knows?
It's not connected to 50 probably by the end of the first day, because we're naturally shedding hair all the time. So even in that one little bitty section of hair, all these little hairs were gripped onto, one of them just falls out, right? And so it just kind of pop, they're like this and it falls out and another one falls out. And so you got a few hairs that are just falling from the scalp naturally. That is natural shedding. But you've got other things that cause problems that look like natural shedding. And so that some hairdressers get confused. They look really close at that little section and they're like, oh, there's some broken hairs. Are they broken? And so one way you can kind of tell, and this is not 100% because you can pull hair out the head and still have that little white bulb at the end. But most of the time, if the technique is right, they're all at natural fall, everything's being supported pretty correctly. And you can see that it looks like there's enough hair in the section to support the weight of what it's holding to, and it's at the correct angle. And then there's still a few hairs, depending on time. If it's just been a week or 2 or 3, you should see 8 to 10 or 12 hairs that are fall out and falling off to the side. I call it a waterfall. They kind of look like this. They'll have little white dots. And you know what? The little white dots, the bulb of the hair that's the root, the part that was planted in the scalp at some point, it is different. Well, it's not different, but it looks different on everybody. Some people's are a little bigger than others, but the thing is, it's almost always white. And people with dark hair like yours, it shows a little more with that black hair background. And so you'll find you get more people complain about it with dark hair because they look and it looks like dandruff or lice or dry skin. And they're like,
say that.
Well, really, they look and they're like, what are these little white dots on my head? Is it bugs?
No, dandruff. We don't say bugs. No.
So
sanitize my whole desk now.
so people get damage and natural shedding mixed up, and sometimes they are one and the same. But usually when you're breaking hair off, it just looks like hair at the end of it, like cut hair, and that is usually the damaged side. The little white bulbs are usually shedding, but if you're a little bad on the technique, you can force some early shedding also. And then somebody would say, oh, it's got the white bulbs. That's shedding. Bernard said that's just shedding, natural shedding. Well, you went a little too far. Not natural. So,
Right.
so there's a little balance there. If you have enough weight, correct angle, and some time, you're going to have some hairs that are naturally shedding, but bad angle. And then you've got maintenance at home, taking care of the hair, how people are taking care of the hair. We got enough hair in each bond bead section to be supported, but pulling it's the stress and the tension that can cause damage. And so you've got more hair on your head. You need to be more gentle when you shampoo, wash, style, all those sports and extracurricular activities.
Well, to piggyback on what you're talking about as well right now, you got to think about this. The longer the length of hair extensions that you're having be put in, the more gravity there is pulling on the root of your head, okay, at your scalp.
Yeah.
When you're getting these 18, 20, 24, 26, 28-inch long hair, okay, fine. Yeah, sure. It looks beautiful. It's nice and long. Sure. Yeah. When you're brushing it, though, the little tug down here may only feel like a little tug down here, but up here, you're going, you are yanking the crap out your head. All right. So you got to be really mindful and gentle as you got to start from the bottom, brush really gentle and slow, work your way up the hair shaft until you can get a nice. I see too many people, they tilt their head over and they just start ripping through with the brush. You can literally hear the bristles of the brush scraping across their hair strands as they're ripping through all the tangles in their hair.
So one of the fun things for me to notice as I get older, it comes with everything. I think it started with raising kids. I remember being at a party and you have that little baby who first starts walking around. You got this little kid that's walking around at the party, and you're like, you can't let them walk into the wrong environments. The street, the ditch, the dog yard, and so you're trying to talk to your friends, and you're trying to watch, and you're like, you can't do it all. And before you know it, you can do it all. Your eyes just start getting trained to see everything. So this is kind of what an owner in a salon is like. We see everything. We see everything, especially because of the mirrors. And the thing I see the most that I go and correct when I was working behind the chair, which I haven't in a long time, in the salon, this would be a trigger for me. And I would go over there and help. If I saw any head doing like this, or like this, I knew there was rough combing going on. And I'm like, what the heck are you doing? Because that's the hairdresser with a comb or a brush going like this. And it's like, boom, boom, boom. And that head, I can't even move my head as fast as, because they might be removing keratin bonded extensions, and they put removal solution and they got it all broken up with the tool. And now they're combing it out, but they're not combing it soft enough or soaked it long enough or squeeze it up enough. And so now they're trying to rush it, and they're combing real quick over a knot, a tangle, even if it's not extensions. And I'll see a head going like this. And I'm like, stop. That is not healthy. That person's head should not look like their Night at the Roxbury,
Night at the Roxbury.
Yeah, it should not look like, like their head should not be going like this. If somebody's head's going like this in the salon, something's wrong.
That's awesome.
With the hairdresser, most of the time, I'm a little dizzy. I'm going to have to stop for just a minute.
All right. So here's one that we've done a video on in the past before. We did a reaction video. Visible bonds, visible beads, visible tracks. Is it improper placement? Is it poor sectioning? Is it wrong color matching?
We saw this really pretty lady in the airport the other day, me and my wife. I don't know why it matters, but sometimes we don't all grow old so gracefully, and you could tell it was a much older lady, and she still had it put together in so many ways. And then she leans over to do something with her luggage, and her hair opens up. And I was like, oh, I did not know that was extensions. So it was a really good job until I saw the placement, which was still a pretty good job, but I could see that whole weft. because when she leaned forward, all of her natural hair fell forward and the weft was kind of stuck where it was, maybe product, maybe something else. And so I thought, now that's interesting, because this is probably not bad placement, not a bad job, but sometimes your extensions just show, no matter what. And I thought, this is one of those ones where I grabbed my phone, I tapped on my camera app, and then she stood up. And I was like, oh, I didn't get the picture. I wanted to get that picture and post
Madam,
it.
Can you pick that up again, please?
Yeah, throw something on the floor over there. But is it bad placement? You know what? I think times are changing. It's sort of like we used to not even do extensions in the salon. We had to do them in private because people didn't want anybody to know. So we would use a private room, a curtain, some trifold, some trifold privacy screens. But now people don't mind. And I would say most people still don't want to see the bonds on their head. You don't want people to see it. You want to look as natural as possible. But there are some rare occasions, depending on what you're doing, especially cultural differences like micro braids or even bigger braids. But braids and dreads, people don't care if you see where everything originates, And so if you take a little section and have some added hair to it, whether it's braided, rubber band in, bonded in, sometimes there's fake dreads put in and they are bonded in, and it doesn't matter if you see where it's attached. It just doesn't matter. But most of the time, I would say seeing the application or technique matters to most people. So I think it's a preference.
It's interesting because you could do it. Okay, so here's the analogy. When I'm teaching class, this is the analogy I give. If there's no way around it and you have to see where the attachment areas are, then you better do it with such a purpose to build it into the design, similar to what you're talking about with the braiding and the micro braiding and the dreads and stuff. They decorate those areas on purpose because there's no way of hiding it. So it looks like it was meant to be, and that's acceptable. What is not acceptable is when you go so high up on the crown and then there's a colic back there in the top of your head and your hair splits and now you see the line of extensions or the track or the weft showing through. That's like an underwear line or like a butt crack. Okay. You don't want to show butt crack, like the whale tail is not trending anymore. It hasn't been for 20 something years.
So the only thing I'd add to that is most people they don't even think about a part when they're putting extensions in. They just think extensions, from the ears, they think extensions should go somewhere in the middle section here, right? Yeah, okay. Or towards the lower end to be safe so they don't show, when you can literally go much higher. But I say take the part into consideration. If there's a middle part, then sure, some even section somewhere in this area for your top row might be okay. But if somebody's got a part right here, how is here and here okay for this part? Because there's only this little bit of hair falling over the top of the extensions on this side, but on this side, you've got all of this hair hanging over it. So I say you go symmetrical from the part, not the ears. So I would go a little higher on this side with extensions. I would, whether it's a weft, individual strands, if this is the part, I'm not saying you have to go exactly the same distance from the part, but you can go much higher on the head over here than over here because you want to have less hair going over the top.
Oh, yeah. I mean, even if you use me as an example, this side is my weak side. So you can only come about here-ish. But on this side, I mean, you could come all the way up into my eyebrow. You could put them up this high up.
Yep.
So symmetrically, that is pretty much, I mean, I can't see, but that's pretty much an even distance from
grab a head.
Like you was just talking about. It really matters because otherwise, if you don't do it, the heavy side is going to look like a bad disconnected, or it's going to look like you got all this bulk down here and all this thinness up here, and they're just not going to match.
So like this lady, I drew hair. She's got more of a left part. And so those squares represent individual strands.
Yeah,
so I have it pretty much close to even from the part there, right? And so her part is like you just opposite of yours. It's left eye. But then the thing that people get mixed up on is how to connect that in the back. They'll call it a horseshoe pattern. And with a weft, you almost do have to do a horseshoe pattern. But watch what happens here. And people hadn't, I had never seen anybody do this till I did. It's where we go wider. So, you know, with individual strands, you have this freedom that you can, from the part, almost do a straight line. But then you got to start thinking from the crown. We're on a round head. We're round. So you got to get around that crown. And then when you're going around that crown, coming back up into this section. So how far back can you go? It just really is different on everybody. You know, for some people that needed like a finger measurement or measurements, I was always like almost the width of your 4 fingers from that either from the front hairline or that first bond. When you start putting that first bond in at about 4 fingers, you can see is when it starts to dip down and get around the crown. Same thing on this side, 4 fingers of putting hair in, and then it's dipping down and around. And then of course I'll put the bottom row in next, which is a whole nother video. Follow the hairline.
Yeah. So that's, you know, that's visible. That covers all the visible bonds and beads and weft tracks and stuff. So number 4, matting and tangling. Is it at-home care? Is it sleeping with wet hair? Is it product buildup? Matting and tangling. We get these calls a lot for people asking questions and needing help.
What number are we on?
We're on number 4.
All right, Alexis, come turn the AC on in here, please. I'm going to start matting and tangling from the heat. I can't believe I didn't put the AC on. God, matting and tangling. Is it the customer's fault or the stylist's fault?
The only way it could be the stylist's fault is if they did not follow natural fall. And I know nobody's going to like hearing what I'm about to say, but if the stylist installed the hair extensions correctly and properly, and they followed natural fall, and they took the proper section to put into the bond or the bead or the whatever they're using, then unfortunately, if matting and tangling is occurring, either it wasn't explained to the client properly how to brush it, how to maintain it, how to take care of it, or the client is ignoring it, or from the manufacturer, you don't have.
Let's stay on the stylist side for a minute.
Okay, so then from the stylist, they are not choosing to use proper Remy human hair. You know.
Oh, there you go. I was going to say
mixed hair.
I was getting ready to say, let me correct you there, Eddie. I think you've been working with really good hair for so long you forgot that sometimes.
No, because it's a dance. You know how you use your 3-legged stool example all the time.
Right.
It's a dance. It's a dance.
Because you were saying at first you said the only way is if the stylist did bad technique, basically.
No, from the because you have the manufacturer, you have the stylist, and then you have the client.
Right. And so not every stylist, well, the clients don't know either, but not every stylist realizes yet in their hair extension journey. Because I remember using hair. I'm going to put hair on somebody. I had no idea I had choices. Of course, I'm so old, it was before the internet, you know, so we're just calling 800 numbers, ordering hair. And I have no idea I've got choices from low end to high end. Nobody's selling the fact that some people sell higher end hair. That was an accidental journey for me in the beginning. And then I was always on the search for better hair. And so, yes, you're right. It's more than just a hairdresser with bad technique. It's sometimes a hairdresser choosing bad hair. Bad hair usually comes because somebody's trying to save money. And unfortunately, the better hair is more expensive. That's what you're paying for. Less tangling, less so many things, less color fading. A lot of times low end hair is very straight, won't hold a wave or a curl. So there's a lot of problems that come with cheaper hair, but sometimes that's worth it for the client. It's all they can afford, and they want hair at any cost, and they do it. And I say any cost, at very little cost is what I meant. So let's go to the other side of it. We were on the stylist side. The client could choose cheap hair because they're just pricing it out. Hairdresser to hairdresser, they just pick and I know this. Yeah. So often I've had,
Sure, but you know what you're getting yourself into then at that point. At least I hope I
not
would
always,
imagine you know what you're getting
not
yourself
always,
into.
because I've done consultations before where I give a price and then I see that same person back a few months later and they're like, can you fix this? You come highly recommended, but so and so, I went to so and so because they were $300-400 cheaper, but I think they just don't know how to cut hair, so it's I got problems. No, you don't have problems because it was a bad stylist. This was put in fine, or it wasn't, but you got crap hair, and maybe you also have it put in terribly. So now, no, I can't cut, fix bad placement and bad hair. I can't just go like this and then it becomes better. It's like sometimes I've been able to salvage a bad look with a cut, and ooh, I hate doing it because I'm like, you should have came to me in the first place. Why am I fixing your bad? It's like color, you know. They go to somebody else because they're cheaper and they get a bad job, and they come to you and spend twice as much for color correction. Same thing with extensions. So people don't know. They're like, well, you do extensions and she does extensions and hers are cheaper. Why would I go to you? And sometimes you just don't sell the benefits well enough. So you learn the hard way. Listen, if you're going to be going to other consult, like, you got to try to find that out. Why aren't you buying today? It's part of the consultation. If they don't buy, why? And then you've got to tell the future. You've got to counter the concerns. Why would they not be buying any service they're buying today from you? It could be all of those reasons. And you've got to say right away, now listen, if you're not going to do this today, are you going to other consultations? Well, you're going to find some people in town are less expensive. They're not going to stay in as well. They're going to tangle. The color's going to fade. There's difference in qualities of hair and techniques. Mine are going to stay in better, perform better. You're going to be able to reuse the hair possibly for a year, depending on what technique I'm using. So you've got to sell your benefits to the client. And so that way, when they go to the other person, you can say, well, ask these questions if you're going to, and then you can sell yourself on why I'm better. And then you still may choose the cheaper, but at least you know now.
I'm gonna need your help with this number 5.
I can't wait. I have no idea what number 5 is.
I get this one sets me through the roof.
You want to take a break, go get a coffee, go to the bathroom or anything?
I need an exorcism for this one.
Number 5.
Clients' expectation. Do they expect too much? The stylists are over promising? Do clients think extensions are supposed to be magically different than natural hair? Like just client expectation.
I thought this was going to be way more dynamic.
Oh no, this is real.
Is your problem more with the stylists and their expectation settings, or is it more with the clients?
It's a combination of both. I think one is a cause and one is an effect. I think.
But are you finding yourself getting more mad at your own clients in this question situation?
Not at my clients, because I yell at my clients. I don't mess around. I freaking browbeat my clients into submission.
So you're talking
when you pissed me off.
When you teach classes and you're doing support and people are calling you about this situation, this is what makes you mad.
Stylists piss me off because they want to give so much to their clients that they're willing to bend over and take it.
But they can't support their words.
Right? So they can talk so much crap when the person's not in front of them, but as soon as the client's in front of them, their voice changes. Hi, how are you? Yes, of course we can do that. It's not a problem. Like, why is your voice becoming supersonic, man?
And why are you saying nothing's a problem? Because some things are. So listen, this is something that drives my wife and I crazy. This is good life advice that you're giving right now, setting expectations in life, in movies. Let me just take it as far as me and my wife are watching a movie and a guy's getting, it could be an old movie, a guy's going off to war and the wife is worried and says, please be careful, honey. Don't worry, honey. I promise I won't die. You can't make that promise. We get so mad. Do not deliver lies. You don't even know if you're lying. I got hair sticking up. We get so mad when a mom or a child is going off to work or whatever, and they say, are you going to be at my football game this evening? Yes, I promise. we're like, well, he ain't going to make that game this evening, because you can see the foreshadowing in the movie. They make promises so that they can break them, so people get mad. And it's just like the promises and the guarantees just in everything in life drive me crazy. Just stop doing it in everything. You know, that is one of the biggest differences in successful and unsuccessful people in life, is just do what you say. If you do every single thing you say, in just a few days, you'll start saying less, because you're like, oh my God, my mouth is saying way more than my body can handle. I need to only say what I can definitely deliver in every area of life. And so hair is no different. And I guess hair has helped me become a better person in life. It's part of what's made me very successful in very many things, because I learned early on to stop saying, yes, I can do that, to everything like you're talking about right here. A dark haired girl comes in and says, can you make me platinum blonde? I might not like shut her down and make her feel stupid and go, no. Sometimes I do jokingly. I'll hear somebody ask in my salon, you know, I got it in a video I just posted. Brendan's doing extension clients, and the girl's got black hair, but she wanted to get like this level, color number 4 hair extensions. And it is doing length. It's looking a little bit like an ombre balayage, color melt, something. And as soon as she said, it's okay if I don't like it, I will just lighten this. And I said, not easily. Box dye. She colors her own hair. Brendan even said it.
But see, most stylists would be like, yeah, we could lighten that. Okay, yeah, we'll do it. Yeah, okay.
No, probably.
And then they're on the phone. I need help. I need to lighten this client's hair. I told her I'll do it, you know, and I can't do it. I don't know what happened, you know. Or your product, I must have got a bad batch, or some freaking the color must be wrong or something. And I'm like, why did you say yes? You know you can't do it. You have no even a clue how to even begin to start to do it. How do you decide, yeah, I can do something, and you don't even freaking have an idea? What is wrong with you? You know,
people overpromise. Drives me crazy.
Promise. And this freaking thing of, well, she paid a lot of money for this hair. Yeah, she did. Well, then the hair should be good. The hair is freaking good. How come it's not? Right. It's well. How come it didn't? How come it's frizzing? How come it's blowing up? How come how come? Mother, because you freaking decided that this is a magical freaking unicorn that you put on top of this woman's head. You know, give me hope and give me poo, and let me see which hand fills up faster. Okay. And you selling freaking hope. You ain't selling reality. Yeah. And now you're just left with a handful of poo. And that's what you get. That's what you get. Now you're knee deep in this crap.
Right. How long did it take people to realize that a lot of these,
I get so worked up. I can't.
What about these filtered images? Can you do this to my hair? And the hairdresser says yes. And then they post it on a forum. How are you guys getting this? Thank God for social media these days, because most of the answers and comments are like, that's filtered. That's not possible. You can't do that. That's not a real color. That's a wig.
Nowadays,
that's lighting.
But back then in the beginning, I use 9V and it fixes the world's problems. It's like, 9V does fix the world's problems, but not this particular freak. How? You don't even know. You see no before picture. You see no expectation. There is zero. I responded once and I asked, God forbid, I asked, what is the natural level? What is the texture? What is the porosity? And the freaking response I got back from the stylist was, listen, man, I just need a freaking formula. Can you help? Are you mother? No, you know what?
The order. This is the order of operation. Right.
Okay. 9V, go have fun. Good luck.
I know this is one of your favorites in the color world. Lift it to like a level 7, 8, bright orange. How do I tone it to an ashy level 9 or 10?
Right, but I'll only use 10 volume. I won't use anything higher than 10 volume developer. Yeah. Oh, okay, you want to lift 7 levels with 3% peroxide. Have fun with that. Call me next week while it's still freaking processing and lifting.
So my least favorite with extensions in that same situation is they send me a picture of a girl with the hair my length, and they say, how where should I put the extensions and how long can I go and it'll look natural? You can't do her hair at all. You can't. You can't put extensions on this girl's head and it's going to look natural. How long does it have to be before I can attach a bond? Longer than that. Longer than that. And the thing is, it's not the experienced stylist doesn't even ask this question because they already know what's possible, not possible. So you've got this brand new, inexperienced stylist, hadn't done many heads of extensions at all. And I get what's going on. They're thinking about the money. They don't want to turn it down. I got somebody that wants hair. No way I'm going to tell her no. How short can it be? And I still do it. Well, if you have to ask, you probably shouldn't be doing it. You shouldn't be doing it if you have to ask. If you don't have total confidence, you probably should be waiting until it gets longer. But I will give an answer here since we're on the YouTubes and possibly Facebook and wherever else we are. My kind of rough rule is the hair on top of the head. You got to grab this hair on top of the head, get the tip of it, however long it is, and it's got to reach to the top of the ear, this hair. And the rest of the hair shouldn't be undercut and shaved, this top, it should all be proportioned. But when the hair on the top of the head first starts growing, it wants to stick up, right? Kind of like this hair. And as it gets longer, it starts to lay flat enough that it'll hide extensions. So the hair on top is what covers that whole top row. So if that hair on top is long enough to get down to the ears, I could probably put extensions there because this hair is probably down to here. And this hair is probably touching the shoulders or past it. But anytime hair is shorter than the top of the shoulder and super blunt in this area, it's hard to hide that solid line. That line needs to get like that mannequin where it's falling past the shoulders. It's a little broken up. It's more layered and uneven at the ends. The more solid and the shorter it is, the harder it is to do. So don't just getting right back to what are the expectations with extensions, color, cut. When somebody says, can I, or is this possible on me? I'm not sure. If you're not sure, don't say yes, first of all. If you're not 100% sure, don't say yes.
I'll even one up you. So not to end on a bitch fest, I'll even one up you.
Is that the last question?
No, there is one more after this.
Okay, good. We won't be ending.
If you are 100% sure, because you've done it on 100 other clients, you should never say yes, ever, anyways, because you are not going home with that client and you don't know what that client's situation is going to be. That client doesn't even know what her situation is going to be. She may find herself in an adverse scenario outside of her own control, and she might mess it up her hair, not even on purpose.
Acid rain.
Seriously, you just don't know. So the way you should respond always is, this hair is built to last up to this much amount of time. Usually with my clients, I see them being able to maintain it this long. Okay. So if you take care of it the way I'm telling you, and if nothing crazy happens, it could potentially last up to this much on you
for the rest of your life.
So you have to custom tailor it to each individual person.
Yeah.
Now, when the person calls you, don't fold like a freaking wet leaf in the rain, man. Like, stand up for yourself. Oh my God, something happened. Oh my God, something happened. No, like, why? Why did that happen? If you have kids and your kids come up to you and they say, "Mommy, I broke something," or "Mommy, I think I goofed," do you be like, "Oh my God, who freaking did that?" No, you're like,
no,
what did you do?
We're taking you to the orphanage.
Right. 100%.
You're out
right now.
Yeah, you broke something. We're done with you.
Right?
No, you don't.
I knew you were the milkman's kid, know, but that's you got to stand up for yourself. You got to manage those expectations, man. All right.
I think you're right about the when somebody calls, because often it's a much bigger deal in the client's head with extensions, especially. They call up and they're like, they're falling out. They're all falling out. How many have fallen out if it's individual strands? 3.
Okay. To a client, that might mean the world, but because they just don't realize, they don't know.
When I know I put 150 in and they say they're all falling out, well, they are not all, because they can't still be falling if there's all. You'd have to say they all fell out and it's done. So I know the words aren't matching up, but I know it means they're freaking out. But then I have to gauge what level of freaking out should I be doing. So I don't really know, because those words are not descriptive enough to me. It's not precise enough. So I have in the past said how many, and they would say, I don't know. It was a dark dance club bar. Hair was on the floor. A few pieces came out. Girlfriend grabbed my head accidentally. Nails got caught in my hair. Our hair got locked together. A button got caught, a necklace, and then a few, some hair came out.
Yeah.
Well, this is not going to be fun, but either you come in and I'm going to count what's on your head, because I always kept track in the computer what I put on that person's head, because I charge per strand. So I knew if I put 100, 120, 135, 150, it's usually around 150 strands. So they come in and I would count. And I'd say, so you have 147 strands on your head right now. 3 fell out. You're fine. That is a small percentage, but you have to know exactly what's going on before you react.
That confidence calms them down from jumping off the ledge.
Yeah, true.
You know,
and with hair replacement, it's bonded to a person's scalp, and they say it's falling off my head. Everybody can tell. And that front edge is peeling up like 1/4 of an inch. And all they got to do is push it right back down, and it's probably going to be good. They probably were in a little too much heat, steam, sun. Maybe they're brushing it back and pulling it, and it came up. Sure. They're new, and they're not taking care of it like they should. So yeah, the relationship and the conversation and not over promising is huge.
So the last thing here is the
number 6 question. Number 6.
Color mismatch. Not matching the natural color, not matching even when they matched the color didn't match the swatch. It didn't match their hair perfectly. They got all one color, and then their natural color faded. The hair extension color didn't faded, with their natural color. Just color mismatching in general.
I don't know what the question is though.
Color mismatching. Why is there color mismatching?
Here,
you want me to start this one off, and then you
go for it, because you must have an agenda here. Go for it.
I don't have an agenda.
I don't know what the actual question is here. I mean, I got a lot of stories that go with color mismatching, but what?
Generally speaking, the question. Okay, so I'll get a phone call and I'll say I ordered color number whatever, and I put it in the client's head, and it's off by a half a shade, and this is like fast forward 2-3 weeks later. Well, yeah, hair extensions are not designed to fade. Hair extensions are designed to retain their color. And even if hair extensions do fade, under what extreme environment was that client in that caused those extensions to lighten up and or change color? So that is one example. The other example that I get,
you're saying often the color is correct when they leave, but then it's not.
Fast forward a couple of weeks and then it's not, right?
Okay.
The other call I get is, we didn't have there wasn't a hair extension color that matched perfectly exactly to the client's natural. So I got a little lighter and I got a little darker. And now you can see the discolorization. You can see the mismatch in color. And well, yeah, obviously, because if you got a little lighter than what the client's hair is, or if you got a little darker than what the client's hair is, then yeah, it's going to look a little lighter or a little darker. Yes.
So with individual strands, that's a way easier fix than a weft. And that's why I say when you order a full head with wefts with us, I always say 2 wefts and a pack of strands, because in the on-stage extensions, 25 strands is a pack, and a pack of strands can change everything. But let me go back even further. When I was doing a lot of hair extension classes for K-tips, for the she hair keratin tips, I was getting towards the end. The last few years, I was doing a lot of, I had a name for it. I can't remember, but it was more of an advanced class. It was a live model class. And the first live model class we did, I think I had like 9 or 10 live models. It was like, I was a little scared, and I was doing some under promising. I still can remember to this day that the girl said, I'll do a live. Venus is her name. Venus is her name. Venus is actually her name. And she was the manager of the salon. It was in a mall. And she said, we'll do a live model class. We have like 10 stylists. I think 1 or 2 Ended up quitting before I got there. One didn't show up. So ended up doing about 9 live models. But listen, from experience, I solved a lot of problems before I got there. And these are some of the things you have to figure out so that you do good jobs. I'm not matching the color. So I'm thinking, what would I do to match people's color? First of all 9 orders were wavy hair, one solid color. So what's the first thing you're thinking?
This is
Probably
chaos.
they're probably not all. Now, coincidentally, like 6 or 7 of them were pretty wavy hair. It was crazy. But my first thought is, there's no way we got 9 wavy hair clients. She's misguessing how wavy our wavy is. She probably only needs straight hair. So I tell my office staff, sure, pack all the hair she ordered, but I also want you to pack all of that same hair in our natural straight, natural body. And then in that wavy, in case it is, and in that straight, I want 20 strands of the next lightest color and the next darkest color, so I can alter. And so I think that should always be done, 10 or 20 or more strands, maybe 10 lighter and 10 darker, what you think your target level is. And then of course, if you're like, oh God, they don't have that color in stock and I got to go a little darker, well, maybe you order your 20 or 30 strands in the next lighter shade that's available, so you can alternate. You don't have to do 1-to-1. Every second, third, fourth strand can be that lighter or darker color. And it doesn't always have to be a whole strand, because that one pack of 10 strands of this darker color I might need for a low light to pull this too light of a color in, a little too light here, and I want to pull it. I can cut that one pack of 10 strands into halves or thirds and make 20 or 30 pieces out of it and make it go way further and be a little more of a micro highlight or low light that alters the color. It looks way more natural that way also. And all of that is most important on the very top row. And that's why I put the top row in first. And one of the very first things I thought of, and this is from a huge mistake of mine. This is back when I was doing great lengths extensions. This girl comes in, wants a full head, and she's paying me thousands of dollars. And I'm just a young, dumb hairdresser. She's got a solid bob in the middle of her neck. And I just start putting hair in. I got up to 200 strands and I still couldn't get that line to go away. Then I start trying to get the line to go away. And I'm thinking that line is all in me layering the extensions. I could never get the line to go away on her head. And all I'm cutting is the extensions. And when I look back, I wish I could tell the younger me, if I ever go back to the future, I want to go back and be like, hey, you idiot. You can't even put extensions in on somebody with that thick. Her hair was so freaking thick. It was beautiful hair. She was a beautiful girl. Just remember, it stood out from her head so far. It was such a big old shelf on that head. There's just no way to make that line disappear. Now, I probably didn't put hair high enough on her head, first of all, to cover it. And then you've got to put it really close to the hairline around here so you don't see it inside here also. So closer to the hairline here would have helped. But more than anything, first thing I think about is, before I ever put the extensions in, it's like building a house. They don't just start building a house on the land that's been there forever. They do so much prep work to that ground before the extensions ever go in, before the house ever goes in. That's kind of what I think about with extensions. There's a lot of work that should or could be done to a person's hair before you ever put the first extension in that can make you more successful. And one is like this mannequin. It's a little uneven on the ends. They just come kind of ratty at the end, ready for a haircut. And honestly, that's the best look for blending. That's what Brendan did yesterday. He put color. Anybody wants to go to my Facebook and see my personal Facebook or my salon Facebook, he put color number 4 on a girl that box colors her own hair black. Her hair's down to here. She's been doing extensions for a while, so they don't trim her hair when it comes out. So her hair, like everybody's, just grows at all different rates. So her ends are starting to get all real uneven, almost looks like broken ends, but it's not damaged. It's just uneven ends because it blends so much better. So he put this completely different color in, and it really just kind of looks like a color melt. I don't love the black to colored for the color blend or color melt. I don't love it. And I think he could have did a better job flat ironing or curling ironing, but those are his weaknesses. He doesn't style hair as well as he puts extensions in and cuts hair and hair replacement. And his extensions stay in so long. That's his strength. You know, we all have our strengths and weaknesses. And maybe she said she didn't want it flat iron, but I looked at it and I thought, well, Brennan, you just sent me this video. I'm putting this on Facebook. I sure wish you'd have smoothed it a little more. Maybe he did, maybe he didn't. I don't know. But I could see that there was no line. And he said, I was confident from the beginning it was going to blend fine. I said, well, I wasn't. And he said, I could tell. I know you said it in front of my client. I'm like, I'm sorry. I didn't say it like that. I just said, Brennan, just open one pack and show her before you open 4, because she was putting all beaded strands in. O-tips. And he had 4 packs, 100 strands. And so I said, just open one pack in case she changes her mind. Show it to her and see what she thinks. And she's holding it up. She goes, yeah, I think it'll be okay. I think it'll be okay. If it isn't, I'll just change this. I said, you won't change that. It'll be a lot easier to color the extensions black than it is to lighten your hair to this
And
color.
that's the best advice right there too. You know, if you're not getting a perfect match, don't ever expect, even if you think you could get a perfect match, don't expect it to be ever a perfect match. Keep it in your mind. Go slightly lighter. You can always tone it down. You can always color the hair together.
Easier than lightening.
Seriously, that really is the best advice when it comes to color matching. And up front, if you can, go one shade lighter, go one shade darker, just like you were saying earlier. It is beautiful when you have that multi-dimensions. Nobody should be one solid color. This idea.
You are.
I'm not, but I'm really, you know, this is a color mix as well. This isn't natural. I mixed 2 different colors to create this, even though it looks black and dark.
2 shades of black.
It's a fade to black. You know, but
that's black and black.
It's but exactly. It's blue, black, and green, black. You know, I want richness and depth, but I don't want to turn red. You know, I see red. I don't want to see the red. So that's the whole thing of it. Pick colors, blend it, mix it, have fun with it. Hair extensions, when you're doing the consultation with the client, shouldn't be such a, I need to do this, I will do this, 1 + 1 will equal 2. Hair extensions should be, instead of, there's a lot of technical that goes into it, but you should be selling the emotional triumph that somebody's going to have afterwards in how they look and how they feel and how much fun they're going to be having with all this extra full thick hair and all this extra length if you're doing length as well. You know, those are the things you should be focusing on. And if something doesn't match perfectly, that's the artistry of it, is that it doesn't look perfect. And that's what makes it perfect. Okay. And just be confident in that. Own it.
And then go back and watch my 5-step cutting tutorial. It's one of our most watched videos on YouTube on this channel. And I mean, cutting can blend some cuts. I mean, some colors that aren't perfect.
Colors that it's not perfect. And I can tell you how many times somebody's come to the office, spent a couple hours with me, and within an hour or 2, we've solved all their world's problems when it comes to hair extensions. So watch the video, come to class, get retrained, reach out and call. Don't just be out there struggling by yourself. Those are the advices we can give you to avoid all the common hair extension pitfalls.
And if y'all could like and subscribe, Eddie won't have to beg anymore. Comment. Tell us how much you hate us or like us, but just comment.
But just
Thank
comment,
y'all for
right?
watching. We are out of here today. Was I early?